Hello, good morning, ma'am and everyone. Welcome to Group 4 presentation. In this video, our group would like to present our lesson plan that related to the use of prose for teaching English as a foreign language. But before that, let me introduce our group member first. Okay, the first one is myself, Kadidira Priani, and there is Lufira Octavia Putri.
Hello, ma'am and everyone.
And the next is Ninyaman Meliani.
Hello, ma'am and everyone.
And the last is Nikade Ayu Etidiantari.
Hello, ma'am and everyone.
Okay, in this material, in our group presentation, there will be 4 contents that our group will explain later. So the first one, as usual, is my part. I will explain about the basic competencies, the indicators, and the learning objectives. And then the second is Vira's part. So we will explain about the learning material, the method, and the media or the sources. And the next is Meliani's part. She will explain about the learning steps, and the last but not least is Ayu's part. She will explain more about our learning assessment. Okay, next, without further ado, I continue to explain the first content. Okay, in this lesson plan, the subject, of course, it is English. And for the class, it is for 8th grade students in second semester. And we choose junior high school number 1 Singaraja. And for the learning material, it is recount text, and for the time allotment, it is about 2 times 40 minutes. And the next, I will explain about the basic competencies and the indicators. Okay, here there are 2 basic competencies. And the first one, it is about analyzing social function, the text structure, and the linguistic elements of several oral and written recount texts by giving and asking for information related to the events or experiences according to the context of their use. And to achieve that basic competencies, we put the indicators like this one. It is identify the social function, the text structure, and the linguistic elements of several spoken and written recount texts by giving and asking for information related to the events or experiences according to the context of their use. And for the second basic competencies, it is about composing oral and written recount texts, short and simple, related to the events or experiences, taking into account social function, the text structure, and also the linguistic elements correctly and in context. And to achieve that, we compile a simple recount text about an event or experience in the form of a short story. Okay, that's about the basic competencies and indicators. And for the next is about the learning objectives. Okay, here we put the 2 learning objectives that we hope that our students will achieve. The first one, we hope that our student can identify the social function, text structure, and linguistic elements of several spoken and written recount texts by giving and asking for information related to events or experiences according to the context of the use. And for the second learning objectives, we hope our students can compose short and simple recount texts in the form of short stories related to the events or experiences. So that's all about the learning objectives. And for the next material will be presented by my friend Vira. So for Vira, time is yours.
All right, Dira, thank you so much for the opportunity. So I will continue to the learning materials. So here we provide 2 learning materials. First is about the conceptual. So in the conceptual, we will provide the definition of the recount text, as you can see in the screen, and then the social function, also about the generic structure, and also the language features that will use in the recount text. As you can see, we will explain about that in the form of what we show in the share screen. Next. All right, so the second is about the factual learning materials. So here we will provide the short stories. So for the short story example, here is a story that is titled Being Late that we will provide in the class activity. And then next, So here we also provide about the text that we will be identified by the students. It is entitled A Beautiful Day in Yogyakarta. Next slide, please. All right, so here about the learning method. So we choose the method, it is grammar translation method, because in this method, the students will learn the grammatical rules. They will translate the sentence that we will provide in the recount text, and it will help them to improve their writing and also reading skills when they learn about the recount text. And then about the techniques that we will use, it is about reading and also writing comprehension. So they will identify the short story about the experience, and then they will make the short story. Because of that, the language skill that we will improve in this learning activity is about reading and also writing skills. And then next is about the learning sources and also the learning media. For the sources itself, we will provide a book. It is buku siswa bahasa Inggris for 8th grade students. And then we also provide another related books. And also, if they want to, they can search more material from the internet. And then the media, we will use laptop and then projector, dictionary, pictures, and also some text in the form of short story. All right, that's all about my presentation, and it will be continued by Melly. For Melly, time is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Vera, for the opportunity. So now I would like to continue the material. So the next is about learning steps. So here we would like to conduct about 2 meetings. So the first meeting, it is for meeting 1. In introduction activities, there are the teacher greet the student, and then the teacher lead the prayer to start the class, and then the teacher check student attendance, and also the teacher compile the material to be learned and ask the student to follow the lesson well. And the last is the teacher explains about the objective and learning procedure, and also learning target that student must achieve. And the next is about the core activities. In core activities, the teacher give picture of the experience, and then the student must observe the picture that related to the material. It is recount text. And the next is teacher provide feedback on the results of student observation. And the next is the teacher explain the relationship between the picture and also the material. And the next is the teacher explain about recount text and give examples of short stories related to the material. And the next is the teacher asks student question related to the material. And the next is the teacher provide an opportunity to ask question about the material that has not been understood. And also, the next part is the teacher from heterogeneous groups. And next is the teacher distribute the recount text to each group and ask students to identify the structure, social function, and also linguist element of the text. And the next is the teacher observe the work of each group and asks about the observed experience in each group. And the last is each group present the results of their work. And the next is closing activities. So here in closing activities, the teacher give reflection on the learning process, and also the teacher and student conclude the lesson, and then the teacher explain about the next meeting. And the last is the teacher close the lesson with prayer. Okay, the next meeting is meeting 2. In introduction activities, here the teacher greet the student, lead the prayer to start the class, and also the teacher check student attendance. And the last is the teacher give question and answer to remind the material. The next is about core activities. In core activities, here the teacher give instruction to student to make short story from memorable experiences that student have experienced. And also uh, the teacher observe student work. And the next is the teacher asks about obstacle experience in student. And the last is the teacher asks student to collect their work. And the last is closing activities. So here the teacher provides the reinforcement related to the material that has been studied. And next is the teacher give reflection on the learning process. And the next is teacher and the student conclude the lesson. And the last is the teacher close the lesson with prayer. I think that's all I can share to you. And the next material will be explained by Eti. Eti, time is yours.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. And now I would like to explain about the assessment of learning outcome. Next slide. All right, so here's we use a three form of assessment. The first is attitude assessment. For the aspect to be assessed, the first there is grateful, and the rubric criteria there is one. Uh, is when the student not show an expression of gratitude for opportunity to learn English as a language of instruction for the international communication or have a passion for learning. And two, a student has not explicitly expressed gratitude for the opportunity to learn English as a language of instruction for international communication, but is interested in learning English. And three, show an expression of gratitude for the opportunity to learn English as the language of instruction for international communication, which is manifest in the spirit of learning. Next slide. And the second aspect is curiosity. For the criteria, three, showing great curiosity, enthusiasm, actively involved in group activities. And two, showing curiosity but not being overly enthusiastic, being actively involved in group activity when asked to. And one does not show enthusiasm in observing. It is difficult to be actively involved in group activity even though they have been encouraged to be involved. And the third aspect is responsibility. For the criteria, three, persevering in completing tasks with the best possible result and working on time. And two, trying to be on time in completing the tasks, but has not shown his or her best effort. And one does not make a serious effort to complete the task and the task is not complete. And the last aspect is discipline. For the criteria, three, punctual in completing the task. Two, trying to be on time in completing the task, but beyond the limit specified. And one doesn't make a serious effort to complete the task, and the task is never complete. Next slide, please. All right, and the second assessment is knowledge assessment. This is assessment of the ability to identify the generic structure, social function, and language features. And the criteria in this assessment is a correct answer will get a score 1, and wrong answer, the score is 0. And to calculate the score, to calculate the final score is a total correct score divided by 100. All right, and the next and the last is a skill assessment. So here's, as you can see on the slide, we use a writing rubric. In the rubric, there are some component to be assessed. The first is content, the second vocabulary, and the third is grammar, and the fourth mechanic, and the last is creativity. And for the score is 1 until 4. Uh, one means poor, and two mean fair, and three means good, and four is excellent. And for the indicator, for example, in the content, for or excellent, the indicator is present the information are well chosen detail across the topic, and good or three or good, the indicator is present the information with detail in the part of the topic, and two or fair, present information with some detail, and one or poor, the indicator is present no clear information, and so on. All right, I think that's all about our presentation today. And thank you for your attention, everyone. Have a good day. See you.